comer. Não.
They called him a monster, a 130-pound powerhouse of pure muscle with battle scars that told 1,000 stories of betrayal. Behind the cold metal bars of the high hill shelter, he sat in a silence so heavy it felt like lead, his intimidating appearance keeping every potential family at a distance. People would walk past his kennel, catch one glimpse of his massive frame and scary-looking eyes, and whisper that he was too dangerous, a weapon rather than a pet. But what David and Sarah Johnson discovered at 3 a.m. on his very first night in their home didn't just shock them, it shattered every stereotype they had ever believed about his breed. They expected a nightmare, but what they found was a miracle that would change their lives forever. Before he was a headline, he was a prisoner of neglect, abandoned by a heartless owner who left him chained to a fence with nothing but a sack of food and a few gallons of water. For days, the American bully endured the scorching sun, his ribs jutting out like prison bars as hunger gnawed at his soul. At 3:42 a.m. one desperate morning, he used his last bit of strength to let out a primal cry for help. A bark so haunting it woke the entire neighborhood. When the authorities arrived, the owners simply told them to take him away, claiming he didn't care if the dog lived or died. He was brought to the rescue center, a broken soul labeled as unadoptable, spending weeks watching others get chosen while he remained behind the steel bars, his hope bleeding out slowly. Then came David and Sarah, a couple looking for a large breed. When the shelter worker hesitantly mentioned monster, the name alone made them flinch, evoking horror stories of aggressive beasts. If you're watching this and haven't subscribed yet, I have to say I'm a little heartbroken. Stories like this need your support. Hit that subscribe button right now. You won't regret it. Now, back to what happened next. The worker brought him out, and the couple prepared for a beast, but instead, the massive 130-pound dog slid his body towards Sarah and began gently licking her hand. The contrast was breathtaking, a powerhouse of muscle acting with the tenderness of a newborn. They saw past the scars and the reputation, realizing this monster was just a lonely, starving boy, waiting for someone to trust him. They signed the adoption papers, ignored the warnings, and decided to bring the giant to his forever home, unaware that his true nature was about to be revealed in the most unexpected way possible. The moment they arrived home, the atmosphere was thick with a mix of excitement and a tiny, lingering spark of fear. As soon as the door opened, Monster didn't growl. Instead, he moved like lightning, disappearing into the depths of the large house. David and Sarah froze, their hearts hammering against their ribs like trapped birds as they frantically searched the rooms, calling out the name they felt they needed to change. They feared a critical mistake. Perhaps the transition was too much. Perhaps his instincts had finally shifted into something darker. They checked the kitchen, the hallway, and the nursery, but the house was eerily silent. Then they found him in the corner of the living room, and the scene before their eyes made time fracture. Monster was positioned himself on the floor, his enormous head lowered, but he wasn't attacking. He was nuzzling the family's pet turtles, his massive tongue gently sliding over their shells in a gesture of pure, unconditional love. The monster they were told to fear was acting as a guardian angel to the smallest, most vulnerable creatures in the house. It was a life-or-death realization for the couple. They hadn't brought a powerhouse of muscle into their home to cause chaos, they had brought a protector.
As the days turned into weeks, the bond between the giant dog and the tiny turtles grew into an inseparable, magical friendship that left everyone who visited the Johnson home completely speechless. He wouldn't leave their side, acting as a living fortress, a sentinel guarding his tiny friends with a devotion that was nothing short of heroic. He was sensing danger where none existed, just to ensure his slow-moving friends were safe under his watchful eyes 24/7.
The transformation was total, and the stigma was finally destroyed. The dog that everyone called a weapon had become the heart of the home, proving that love is always stronger than a stereotype. One evening, David looked at Monster, who was curled up near the fireplace with a turtle resting near his paw, and suggested it was finally time to change his name to something less intimidating. Sarah looked at her husband, eyes filled with tears, and laughed through the joy, saying they should have called him Love or Ushk from the very beginning. David chuckled, watching the 130-pound Gentlegiant wag his tail so hard his entire body shook, and replied that the name Monster should stay, because the only thing scary about him was how much they loved him. Today, Monster is a local legend, a symbol of second chances and the power of looking beyond the scars. He is no longer the starving dog chained to a fence. He is a hero, a guardian, and a constant companion who teaches everyone he meets that even the most scarred souls are capable of the purest grace. This journey from the cold metal bars of a shelter to the warmth of a marble fireplace is a reminder that our destiny isn't defined by our past, but by the love we choose to give. He proved that even a massive powerhouse can have the softest heart if given a second chance. If this story touched your heart and you're still not subscribed, please don't wait any longer. Hit that subscribe button. What would you do in this situation? Tell me in the comments below. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. It helps more people find these incredible stories.